In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time. Do you have what it takes to become a soccer superstar? Look no further than Soccer Pro Academy. Led by experienced coaches, including a former Socceroo, the Academy provides world-class training to help you reach your full potential. From technical skills to tactical awareness, they'll help you develop the skills and mindset needed to succeed at the highest level. Soccer Pro Academy, where champions are made.
Well done, boys.
Are you looking for the perfect kit for your football club? Try Arrow Sport today. From jerseys to shorts to socks, Arrow Sport will have you completely covered. We can even cover your merchandising line, including hats, beanies, scarves, jumpers, and so much more. So if you're looking for excellent lead times, great pricing, and even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au. And even better quality, try Arrow Sport today by looking at our website at arrowsport.com.au.
Looking for a haven to unwind and indulge? Look no further than Brista Cafe, nestled in the heart of Derrimut Village Shopping Centre. From decadent homemade gourmet cookies to scrumptious muffins, every bite is a delight. Everyone loves Brista Cafe, and you will too. So why wait? Visit Brista Cafe today and taste the difference for yourself.
Hi guys, Harry Sunday here, letting you know that there's a apparel company that supports the game that you love. It's called thereisonlyonefootball.com, guys. You've got all sorts of stuff, from caps, t-shirts, water bottles, all sorts of accessories, even for your mobile phone.
In today's fast-paced business world, reliable logistics is key to success. That's where PC and FS Logistics come in. With a comprehensive range of services including air, sea and domestic transport, as well as secure warehousing, we've got your supply chain covered. From origin destination, our expert team ensures your goods are handled with care and delivered on time, every time.
But let me just say one thing, Angelo, to you. The big disappointment is in Australia. The big disappointment is right now, once again, people are thinking it's the game tonight is at 10 p.m. after this show just about, and they're saying, where's the show been played tonight? So once again, there's no coverage in Australia on free-to-air, Angelo. Where are we going wrong here?
Yeah, well, look, it surprises me. I've tried to promote it on Facebook. I know it's only one social aspect, a small part of the social aspect at Instagram, where it's going to be shown, you know, like on Channel 10, 10 Plus, and so on and so on. But over here, if you ask the question of Marco, where can we see it? There is an app called Football Live, HD.
Yes.
Football Live picks up all the games right around the world.
Gee.
We can see, and you know, the big thing about it, you've got English commentary. I think Carlos would appreciate the fact that the English commentators, to me personally, they are the best in the world, and they really make the game exciting. Sometimes I watch a Serie A game with English commentary, you know, because I can relate to that, and I think, and so, you know, I'm very disappointed at the fact that, you know, like very few people to watch Australia in Australia, which is a very, very important game. I mean, we know the weight that Popovich has put on this game, the fact that we won the last game handsomely. I think that I've gone on record saying that was a fantastic promotion for the game. I think that, I'm talking about the people that don't really watch football, like other codes, seeing a game, score 5-1 is an absolute marvellous score in a game. And I think Australia did it well coming from behind. I think that, Indonesia was playing better the first 10, 15 minutes. But just going back on, television viewing, it's so disappointing, the fact that we could not put that game on mainstream television as they do in Italy. I mean, Italy, whenever Italy plays, they go on a channel called Rai, which is exposed to about 60 million people.
Gee.
I mean, pay TV, it's good quality, but at times that you've got your limit on who can watch it, who can't, who can afford it, who can't. So it's very disappointing, the fact that Australia, the Socceroos, are not making television.
I want to bring.
The problem is,
Kenny,
guys,
I just want to go on, Kenny.
It's a bit more complicated than that, mate. I mean, the problem we've got is that the world's gone crazy in it. The problem is that Channel 10 don't have any rights in China. That's the problem, right? It's not Channel 10's fault that they can't get access to Chinese TV. So all the home games are on free to air.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Europe's a little bit different. I mean, you can watch. I mean, I can watch beIN Sport. I can go to my app and watch all the World Cup games. You get them all. But like you said, I mean, I didn't realise. I thought maybe they would have been able to come to some sort of arrangement with whoever. Probably Star TV's probably showing it. Star pretty much cover Asia. I thought maybe somebody they'd have some sort of relationship, but we all know that Channel 10 don't want to spend any more money than they're currently spending. It's they look at our domestic football, and to a certain extent, other than the Matildas, it's not an asset; it's a liability to them currently.
But Kenny, this is where we always talk about. We're just trying to be objective about this. This is where the FA comes in, the governing body, where you make some sort of arrangement, like you said. For example, in Italy, you watch Italy prime time at 8:30, 8:45, 9 p.m., whatever the time may be, on mainstream. Then 3 hours later, you get it on pay TV delayed. So that's a sort of arrangement. I don't think it's too difficult to do. I think that I'm just disappointed that our governing body, without mentioning any names, obviously, they can't go to the table and negotiate, right, to show the Socceroos to the mainstream. And this is where we actually suffer in terms of popularity.
Oh, yes.
This is an opportunity where everybody in Australia wants to see Socceroos. And here we are in a situation where we can't blame Channel 10. Well, and this is where Harry Michael, you guys might be thinking, I've nearly finished. This is where Harry Michael is a priceless friend of the game.
Exactly.
This is where Harry Michael has been involved. He's done World Cups. He's had negotiations, one with Optus, with SBS television. Since SBS is gone, we have lost so much.
Exactly.
In terms of profiling the Socceroos.
I just want to bring Carlos on. Go on, Kenny.
Let me just comment on. I mean, look, the issue we've got is that the commercial TV networks are not prepared to pay any money for it. So somebody's got to pay the piper. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I mean, what Angelo said the other day, a minute ago, he said about we only got 35,000 at the game last week. It wasn't a fantastic crowd. The Matildas are going to sell more tickets next week for a friendly game than we've done for a World Cup game.
Yes.
And I can tell you, the Indonesian support was nearly as much as the Australian support.
They were coming in from planes. They were flying over as well. It's close.
I mean, for a World Cup game as important as it was, 35,000 was
really no.
It was okay, but it's certainly not. You wouldn't be diving through hoops over it.
No.
But Kenny, you got to admit, just quickly. Sorry, you got me going now. I think that you got to remember that Australia in the last 6 games, we're coming off not a very good performance. Now, Popovich took over. We beat China 3-1 in Adelaide. Okay, we went away and drew with Japan. That was a big result. And now this is another big result. I can bet your bottom dollar that the next home game in Australia will be a sellout. Definitely.
Well, mate, look, it depends on the opposition. China's bottom of the comp, right?
Yeah.
So, and Indonesia's second bottom. So, in fairness, let's put it in perspective. The best two teams, Japan's going to win it. I've got no doubt about that.
They're through. Kenny, they're through. They're through. Kenny, they're through. They're qualified.
Yeah.
Let me just say,
we've got to be careful. Look over our shoulder for Bahrain. Obviously,
no, exactly,
is a danger.
Saudi Arabia.
They're the big danger right now.
I think Saudi, haven't hit the straps at all.
No, they haven't.
But it's only a matter of time before they get going again. But in fairness, the other night we could have been 2 or 3 down before we scored.
Oh, that penalty, gentlemen, that penalty, unbelievable.
We got out of jail, and keep in mind that team that Indonesia's got, they had 9 non-Indonesians. They're all naturalised.
They're all Dutch background, all Dutch,
2 French,
Dutch, exactly.
2 Malaysian. So there was only on the starting 11. There was only 2 actual born and bred Indonesians in the team. So they're changing their whole landscape like we did in the early 70s here.
Yes,
like the Rally Razik World Cup team. That's how we were in the early 70s.
Yes.
Right through till the Frank Harrock era. And if you look at the Frank Harrock team, look at how many players were naturalised. There was probably 70-80%. So it's an interesting concept. I think he got out of jail the other night.
We did.
Sometimes you need a bit of luck, and he got it. He definitely got it the other night.
Let's want to talk to Carlos for a second. Now, Carlos, when was the last time Australia scored 5 goals against a team? 5 goals. I mean, that's just amazing. And to let that goal in that Matt Ryan in let in as well. But don't worry about that. We still won by 4 goals. But how long has it been since Australia scored 5 goals? I mean, we're talking about maybe 20 years ago, at least 5 goals.
I can't remember such a scoreline, but I have to say a number of things. I was at the game. We looked very shaky in defence, and Indonesia dominated the first 15 minutes, and they missed a penalty, and then soon after, Matt Ryan made an amazing save where he tipped the ball off the bar, and then we scored, and then it was history. But the other thing that was disappointing for me, that at times the midfield gave the ball away too cheaply. With the state government through Venues New South Wales would have paid a lot of money to FA to bring the game to Sydney. Perth, with Japan, would I'm flying across, the WA government would have paid a lot of money to secure the rights to host that game in Sydney, and we haven't seen the Socceroos in Sydney since 2017. But for both Venues New South Wales and FA to allow an international game of that calibre to go live around the world with that horrible cut-up pitch was shameful. And it was a shame to be there. The ball was bouncing around everywhere. People were falling. So it is, to me, it is shameful to put that game with that surface. We have a duty of care to the players. I think it was one serious injury to the Indonesians, but I think it was in the field. But the surf was atrocious.
Rugby,
and
rugby
I think
league,
that's
the night before rugby league.
But if I was Venues New South Wales, securing the rights to this game and paying close to $1 million for that privilege, right? And FA, I would have gone to NRL and say, look, 3 weeks before, put the games at Brookvale Oval, put the games anywhere, but let the grass and let the groundsmen do the job. So another thing I want to say about the game, and I think we have an issue, is we haven't found a true number 9.
No.
Since team retirements.
Cahill.
Adam Kusengi, he was there. He promised him, but he's injury prone. He needs to have a look at his training. He needs to have a look at everything he's doing, because to come halfway across the world and pull your hamstring while you're warming up for a training drill, not good enough. So he was the big hope that we had, but he's injury prone. Adam Taggart, he didn't get the service that he needed, and the surfer was atrocious because the ball bounced everywhere.
Yes.
Borrello is not a true number 9. He could do the job. He's more like a winger. So we still don't have a true number 9 that will score, that that in 10 games he will have 5 goals and he will have 5 chances to put them away. So that's an issue that Popovic has to address, because Kusiniyangi, it's injury prone. Adam Taggart, he could do the job, but he needs to service, and we didn't give him he got injured, aggravated groin injury.
Unbelievable.
Borrello, he's the energizer bunny. He could do the job. Mitchell Duke is your workhorse.
He's back.
He's not the player you need to, score for you.
He's gone to He's in China tonight.
Every club in the world wants a centre forward. Arsenal's screaming out for centre forward.
Yeah, I know.
Where are we going to get one? You tell me where he is.
Mate.
We have to naturalise a couple of Italians, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just saying.
We have to remember the other night, the score flattered us a little bit, because Craig came on
was
and
a success.
picked in 2 corners.
He was a success.
We got 2 goals from 2 set pieces and 1 other free kick. So it sort of flattered us a little bit.
It did. And I tell you what, he needs to, honestly, we're going to go now talk about, of course, China at the moment now. Now, you're talking about Craig needs to start, full stop. Craig Goodwin needs to start tonight. They need to score early to get this game over and done with. And that's what I'm saying tonight to everyone on there. If you're watching the game, you'll see it at 10 o'clock on Paramount Plus, if you've got it. Now, Craig needs to start, Kenny. He needs to start full stop, because you never know what these...
Yeah, but mate, if we can't beat China, we've got to give it away, mate.
Oh, well, that's exactly the point. That's the point. That's the point.
We're giving them too much. We're giving them too much credibility.
Yes.
If we can't go there with a squad of players that we've got and beat them comfortably, because
exactly,
China been the punching bags through the whole competition predominantly. I don't see us no winning comfortably there tonight, even if we just plod through the game.
Let me say
the important game is the games that are coming up. We got obviously Japan and Saudi. And I think. They're the game. They're the ones.
That's right.
Yeah, so they're the ones.
The thing about what you're telling me is that night when Australia won last week or whatever, I was watching the other games. I was watching. You should have seen it. I watched Japan and of course Bahrain. You should have seen. I could not believe it. Very lucky for Japan to get away with that one, because they had to make changes to score goals, 2 goals, and very but they qualified. As soon as they won that game, they qualified. That was it. They qualified. So the other
first country in the world,
the first country, exactly.
Japan are a machine. I mean, they very, very rarely lose games, even when they're not playing that well. They're super organised. They've got lots of individual talent. They've got players playing at the highest level all over the world. Whether it be in the Premier League, whether it be Scottish League, whether it be France, whether it be Serie A, they've got. People don't give them enough credit for being such a really good side. But that's what it is. Our squad's our squad.
Let me say one thing about this last week. Even last week, when Australia beat, of course, we beat them 5-1. And then I saw the other game between China and of course, Saudi Arabia. I only put one past them. One past them. This is the point tonight, is that they're going to park the bus. They've got no chance of making it, so they're going to try and park the bus and make it a draw. That's what I'm saying.
No. They do have a chance. They have to win.
Of course.
Now, if they lose today,
we're in trouble.
If China loses today, they have very little chance of picking up the repechage places. Yes. So for China, it's a must-win game.
Yes.
For Australia, okay. At the same time, we have Japan and Saudi Arabia. Japan at home. Saudi is on 9 points. We are on 10.
Yes,
I
exactly.
can't see Saudi Arabia picking up 3 points in Japan. Maybe one if you're lucky.
Yes.
However, if we win in China, assuming the Saudi Arabia loses, we win in China, and we have 2 games. We need 1 point for the next 2 games. We will definitely get a result in Perth. We will not get a result in Riyadh or Jeddah in Saudi Arabia because the conditions are so difficult.
Very hot too.
So, and then assuming we get 3 points today, and the Saudis lose, and then we got Bahrain and Indonesia playing Indonesia at home tomorrow. Popovic will have at least 6 games to fine-tune his first 11 for the 2026 World Cup. Mm-hmm. Because if he achieves qualification with 2 games to spare, he could rest some of the established players who by then we have played a lot of football and give some of the, I can't say bench warmers, impact play or say, then he could start fine-tuning his ideas and see who could be the number 9, maybe a false number 9. Craig we need someone. Craig is great, but what if he's injured? I personally would put Irakunda as a number 9.
They've let him
because he's an energizer bunny. He could dribble. He will brought down, but I'm not the coach. Irakunda, I will put him as the number 9.
Let me say,
but anyway, I'm not the coach.
He's turned into a bit like Alzani. He's certainly
hot and cold.
He's certainly been very disappointing since his move, and he was very poor when he came back here and played. I look at, and I think he was a talented player as is Alzani, but they certainly they're certainly know the answers for us at the elite level at the moment. I mean, I think we look at. I mean, for me, the only outstanding standout player for us is Goodwin for me in the whole squad. I think he could play in most clubs.
Kenny, I think that you guys could mention Harry Suter as well, because if you ever look at the since Tony Popovic had taken over, the 3 games. He's only conceded 2 goals and they've scored 8. I know that they've scored 5 the other night, but they also scored 3 in Adelaide. He's actually, what I'm trying to say, he's actually fixed the defence. We missed Harry Suter the other night. And I think that tonight, if they win the game, as Carlos mentioned, Carlos was a very good analogy there. There are 2 teams on 6 points. Saudi Arabia 9, we're on 10. We go on 13 points. And then we've got to play Japan and we have to play Saudi Arabia. And I think that we're quite. If we actually win tonight, that's a nice streak going forward. A big draw in Japan and 3 wins. I think that we're capable of beating Saudi Arabia, because I don't think Saudi Arabia is playing that good of football. I think that you mentioned it, Harry,
Many
the game
times.
the other night. I mean, I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it. But, only conceding 1 goal. I think that Australia, they are on a streak, guys. Even though we went very good the first 15 minutes against Indonesia, we actually picked up, we overthrew them, we were superior. And, of course, Matty Ryan made that save. Yes, Carlos mentioned it. He made a fantastic save.
Yes.
But that's what he's there for. I mean, Jerry's the goalkeeper. You've got to make saves at crucial times of the game, and not, as Carlos said, Donnarumma the other night made a critical error, because had he not made that error, we may have won the game, and it could have gone into extra time, because Italy came back and played a strong second half. But anyway, guys, I think the Socceroos, they're on the right train. They're on the right train, going to a destination. They will qualify, and I think by then, Tony Popovic, as Carlos mentioned, made a very good point. I think Tony Popovic would have had his imprint and stamp on the authority on that squad. Now, I think they'll do very well.
Now, the other team that's actually qualified yesterday was New Zealand. Guys, I have never seen a more easy qualification than New Zealand's. I cannot believe that they're still there. Now, because they said, well, New Zealand's got 1 place now because of 48 teams. And now, of course, there is the Pacific Nation. Now the Pacific Nation.
ready?
Who's going to play against the Pacific Nation, Kenny? The Pacific Nation there that's ended up second. Who are they going to play to try and qualify? Will we ever see the first Pacific Nation make the World Cup, Kenny? You think we could do it? They think they could do it?
Mate, back in our day when we were still in playing against Fiji, and we always had to play a South American or a, well, that's gone out the window now because there's 48 teams who are going to play in the World Cup.
I know.
You know, I think we've sold our souls in the river for this. We're going to get to a World Cup that's going to be spread across 3 countries potentially. We're going to be playing all over the place. We're going to get very, very erratic early matches and quite high scores against some really poor teams by international standards. I'm talking about. We've got to look who's going to be the 3 or 4 dominant teams in the next World Cup. It'll be Spain, France, Brazil, probably
Netherlands.
Probably the Netherlands. Yeah, and
Italy, but the Italians forgot the art of defending. I'm sure that people like Trapattoni, Costa Curta, Gentile are going, son, let me bring you home for dinner. I'll teach you how to defend, you know.
But you wouldn't bet any money on the 4 or the 8. There'll be England, there'll be Germany, there'll be Spain, there'll be France, Brazil,
Argentina.
You don't see any of these teams get close.
Yeah, I think Italy, Kenny, just think Italy will make it now. With 48 teams, they've missed out in the last 2 World Cup. Italy, definitely, I'm picking them to make it. But I'll give you a tip, and you guys can I reckon England, with Thomas Tuchel, they will be a very, very strong contender to win it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now let me.
In fairness, they should have gone better in the European Championships. They blew it. They had a fantastic squad, and they blew it. But I think that was down to the coach because I think he was far too negative,
conservative,
far too conservative.
Yeah, yes. Kenny, what about Tuchel? What do you think of him, Thomas Tuchel?
Yeah, mate, look, I'm a Chelsea supporter. I mean, I like the boy, but I have to tell you, historically, non-English coaches don't do well with international teams. I mean, we had Bertie Vogts had Scotland. It was a disaster. We've had how many England had an Italian Fabio. We've had, it's never, unfortunately. Like they've turned on Tuchel already after the game the other night. I mean, they talk sport, rating the players. How did he pick the ex-Man United lad? How did he make the starting lineup?
Rashford.
How did Rashford make that starting lineup? And he left out Watkins. He left out the Newcastle lad. 2 Newcastle lads. Mm-hmm. What was he thinking? I mean, I'm shaking my head because, as a football fan, Rashford has had a shocking last 2 years. Why? On what basis does he make the starting 11 for England?
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Let me. And like you said, I mean, the squad, like they've got Bellingham, they've got some great players, but they still brought in the lad that's just gone to Italy from Man City, and he's 35, 36. Jeez. They brought him because he's still the only one with real pace at the back. Walker. But I don't disagree with you, Angelo. I think if they got a decent run and he actually went at teams, I think that yes, definitely they give it a shake. But I just don't know whether Tuchel will do that. Whereas I think Spain will go at teams. I think France will go at teams. I definitely think the Germans will go at teams. Brazil and Argentina. But it's the same rodeo. We're going to have the same. There'll be a lot of teams there.
Yes.
But there'll be a lot of teams going home, getting back before the postcards arrive back because they're really there and a bit of a jolly boys out. I'm a purist. I just think when you start, making a World Cup that should have been. I mean, I can live with 24 and even 32, but I can't live taking it to 48. And I think that's just way over the top.
That's just I have an announcement to make tonight to everyone here right now.
Announcement.
A very big announcement, of course. Yesterday,
You're getting married. You're getting married.
Carlos, the best man. I knew you want to do it. Oh, no.
Yeah, I know.
Yesterday was a very sad.
I got my fashion advisor sitting on this up there, so he could advise me at what to wear.
Listen to this guy. Listen to him. Let me just say one thing about this, guys. Yesterday was the resignation of the CEO of Football Victoria, Chris Palavanis, and he resigned yesterday to go to a different job, a different position. We wish him well. I'd like to thank him for helping us out with the Football Less show last year at Brunswick City. Thank you very much, Chris, for that amazing support of yours by Football Victoria. And, of course, don't forget on the 11th, we've also got the show there with a much bigger show with Carlos Bielli. We've also got Kenny Wilson, of course. He'll be in his brand new suit, of course. I can hear that. A brand new suit. And, of course, Carlos as well. And don't forget, guys, that night it's free. Turn up. It's massive. We're going to have so many.
It's free.
It's free. And a lot of NSL supporters. And, of course, we're going to have some information of a lot of other different guests that we've got coming as well. There's a few. We've got Joe Spiteri, former Socceroo. He'll be talking to us about his academy. We've got Dan Burrell from Football Victoria. We've got himself. What we're talking about, the most popular Socceroo captain, Paul Wade, of course, and he'll be there as our major guest. So don't forget that night, guys, at 6 p.m. and we're going to have it put up onto, of course, Foxtel Aurora Community Channel, and it's going to be up there probably an hour after that, a delayed telecast. But let me just say one thing at the moment is that I won't be going through the NPL Victoria scores tonight. I might put them up tomorrow online. But let me say, Carlos, the score tonight between China and Australia. How important is this game? Because Saudi Arabia just behind by 1 point behind.
It's crucial for both games, both teams. China has to win, and China show when we play in Adelaide that they have fast players that could do the long Route 1 football and go behind us and score. So I think it's a difficult game for us. We should win at least. I don't think it wouldn't be a huge scoreline. I think 1-0, 2-1. But we need, the midfield is the key. We cannot give the ball away cheaply like we did too many times against Indonesia. This obsession with playing from the back.
No.
Just go long at times. When we play from the back, we got caught, and Romani, the Indonesian number 10, he was giving nightmares to everyone. And neither Popovic or any of the coaching staff, in my view, made the tactical changes to stop him creating havoc. He was just running amok. No matter which defender he took on, he ran rings around it. But the supply was there. So in my view, we need to win. But we had some tactical issues that we didn't have. I'm not the coach for it, but he was getting the ball running amok. So why not cut supply? Why not men mark him all the time? Mm-hmm. And he was, he was on the left, in the middle, he was on the left, he was on the right. He gave everyone nightmares so much that they had hay for breakfast the next day to feed the nightmares. So I think 2-1 is the scoreline. I want to say something about the Minos. I agree with Kenny that 48 is one too many teams perhaps. But what he will do for the Minos, the Maltas and the Gibraltars and the New Zealands of this world,
San Marino,
they will die for their shirt. The domestic leagues will flourish because they made it to the World Cup. They will prepare within the limitations, and they will give the Brazils a run for their money. Yes, they will lose, but I don't think we will see a 13-0 scoreline as we did with the Socceroos, because they're going to be so pumped that a tiny country like, let's just take Nicaragua or, I don't know, one of the smaller countries.
Panama.
And they're just going to prepare so well and be so fit, they're going to run all day and die for the shirt. And if they lose, they will hold their heads high. They lost against England. but they gave Latvia gave the English a run for their money at Wembley.
Yeah.
They lost,
Carlos, is that the type of games you want to see at the World Cup? I don't.
well, the World Cup.
I don't want to see minnows who are really fit running around, trying to do that. It's not for me. I'm sorry. I want to see elite football with the elite teams,
Yes.
and that's what the World Cup is.
For the minnows, it's an incentive to improve beyond the wildest dreams.
Yeah, but it's not a development competition, Carlos. That's not what
Kenny, just one thing. Kenny, just one thing. I know you mentioned that word elite, and I think that from a marketing point of view, now I'll put my marketing hat on, I think that we need to also touch the community. I think FIFA want to do that. They want to touch the whole world. There are 211 countries. I think the good thing about the next World Cup, I agree with you, Kenny, totally about in terms of the standard. But however, the next World Cup is going to be in 3 countries, okay? Mm-hmm. So they're going to park 16 teams in each of the countries. 16 in Canada, 16 in Mexico, and 16 in the US of A. Just think. Now, the first round, we might get a 5-0, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1. But then after the first 12 teams are eliminated, okay, or however that may be, I think that'll bring it to 32. Then I think that we're going to go back to quality. But the point is that we needn't be too elitist about our football, and this goes for Australia as well. Australia, with the A-League, the last 10, 15 years, they've gone too elite, and people aren't going to the games. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I first started, with Frank Lowe, we launched the 18 competition. We were reaching out to the wider community. And I think that FIFA have got that model, Kenny. I know you're disappointed. I know that you're talking about the standard, right? But I still think that out of 211 countries, 48 are going to participate, and that would help promote the game in the
20%.
Gentlemen, I know we keep going back to this. It's the most watched sporting event
in the world,
in history, in the world currently. Whether your team's in the World Cup, you watch it. So the argument of it because they're there, it's going. No, I don't accept that. What my problem is the first thing is the games, the quantity. You're looking at playing more games, diluting the quality. Well, let me finish, Carlos, please. All right, you've had a good run. You've had a good run today. Let me finish. We've had when you've got a 48 team comp, you have so many more games. So players that we're talking about, elite players, have already had a massive season to get to the end of the World Cup. All right, the last thing they want to be doing is playing against Tahiti, who parked the bus.
Oh my God!
In a game.
But Kenny, it might be. See, we don't know at this stage how they're going to do it. They might be able to see. They might be able to see the big guns. See them so they play less games like the tennis. I think the other point is that I think that you remember in 1974 when there was only 16
teams. Yes.
When the Soccer League first made that World Cup in 74, there was only 16 teams participate.
Correct.
So now we've gone 3 times over.
3 times. 3 times over.
Have you heard, Kenny, and have you gentlemen heard the next World Cup after this one is going to 62 teams, Kenny? Did you hear about that one?
No.
No.
Yeah, I heard about that.
62 teams.
I don't know.
This is FIFA.
I just don't know.
This is I don't like it either. I don't like it.
No, it's not just I don't like it. It's just turning into the sublime, the ridiculous. I mean, I don't have an issue with development and developing clubs and not international teams like Indonesia's developing. I don't have a problem with that. But the reality is, there's a bar you've got to reach. You don't get the World Cup just because there's 48 teams and get there, and then you
on merit.
And Angela's right. They'll see that. So what you'll get is I don't know how many groups are going to have 12 groups of 4, right? The 12 groups of 4. Two teams will be seeded, and 2 teams will be Tahiti or whatever it'll be. I would imagine that's how it's going to work. Because if you don't do it, if you don't draw it like that, then it's not a proper fair competition. You can't say, well, we don't want the best teams to have to go and play in Canada, so we'll leave them in America. You can't do it like that.
No.
You know, it's not in the heart. They're seeded. Well, Germany seeded, Spain seeded, yeah. So the seeded pot against the unseeded pot. And that's how it's got to be. But it's a lot of games, mate. This
is exactly what you're saying, because this could happen right now to one of the Oceania teams, because they've got that second spot. This could happen. This could happen right now. We don't know. I think it's Fiji's become second. They're second, they're second, of course. So let's just see where they end up and whether they come to the World Cup and see who they're playing. It could be anybody. We don't know yet. That's one of those 2 spots they gave to Oceania. They gave the first spot goes through. Of course, that was the most easy, as I said, the most easiest qualification I've ever seen in my life, Oceania, ever. And of course, now Fiji is second. Well, then we've got to find out where they're going to end up. That's the other thing.
Yeah, guys, mark my word. The next stage after this will be a European Super League. It will happen. Remember, I've said it on this show.
Yes.
Remember, I've said it in the show. The next stage will be a European Super League.
Yeah, let's not forget, guys, that, you know, like, what governs our game as well is pay television. And I think that in terms of television rights, we need 48 teams. Look, I can bet you bottom dollar that whoever's got the television rights, okay, from FIFA, and they're paying millions and millions of dollars, they would have said, look, more teams, better. You know, it's the same as in Australia. We've got a 12-team competition. But if we said, like you said once, Kenny, you said we should have a 16-team A-League. More teams. Can you imagine what that does to pay television? I know for a fact that in Italy, it's, you know, they definitely want a thing from Sardinia. You know, which is targeting, right? You know, if you don't have a team there, you know, the pay television goes downwards. You know. Now, in Calabria, we want to have a team. We haven't had a team, you know. So I think that pay television does govern, and, you know, does govern these sorts of things, Kenny, you know, having more teams participate.
Yeah, I mean, you've gone, and you're correct what you're saying, but you've gone, we started the NSL with 16 teams. That's how it started,
yes.
Right? The problem we've got is we've got a 12-team comp, whatever it is, in the A-League, and they're playing 22 or 23 games. It's half a season. That's
not
the problem.
enough.
It's not enough. It's not even close enough. So we're talking the devil and WWE doing. I'm talking about the extreme of 48 teams where it's out of control. But what I do want to see, I want to see a 16 or a 20 team A-League and playing 38 games. That's what I want to see. Yeah. And that's a real season.
What you just mentioned, I have a problem with that next week. I've done some research about the problem we have here in Australia that you guys don't know. I've been speaking to people, and it's not looking good either for a lot of development in this country through the academies of the A-League. You wait, well, I have next week. You got no idea. Something really bad. That's something really bad. And let me say one thing about tonight. Someone spoke. They spoke to me during the week. Harry, we want you to talk about the Oceania Professional League, which is going to be between some of these the lower Asian countries, southern Asian countries, of course, the islands of the Pacific, New Zealand and Australia. Now, I'll tell you that FIFA are doing this. It's a FIFA project. They're trying to raise. Kenny, you're laughing at this, but FIFA are doing this. Kenny,
we're not putting all these games.
This is where the problem is. When we've got the second tier competition, and all of a sudden that's going to happen where whatever it's going to be, and now clubs want to go and play in this other competition. Now, there's got to be some kind of common sense here that prevails. That there's 4 teams in Australia. Four clubs in Australia have actually put their submissions into play. So this is yet to come. There's New Zealand teams. We don't know who they are. The Southern Asian competition. There's teams going to go in that. But Kenny, as I said, I don't know what's going on here. People are asking me, but it's a FIFA project. They're putting the money down to do this, to raise the standard in the area. That's what they're trying to in the Pacific. So let's just wait and see.
And when is this?
Well, Kenny, after the World Cup, Kenny, after the World Cup. After
the World Cup.
That's right, after the World Cup. Exactly.
Harry, I can add something to that. I think you made an excellent point, Harry.
Yes.
You made an excellent point because the Super League in Italy was gaining momentum, and then FIFA and UEFA, what have they done? They've changed the Champions League format
Yes.
to a 36-team competition where you play 8 games, you play more games, and it's very much like a different competition to the Serie A or the EPL or the La Liga and so on and so on. You know, clubs are making more money, and I think I'll get to the point you were saying, Harry. I think it's going to happen the same thing in the Asia Confederation, where they're going to have an Asia Champions League,
Yes.
and it's going to be extended. You're going to have more teams in the A League. You may have an NPL team that wins the competition, that goes into a tour.
Exactly.
Look, I've got to tell you, I quite like the new format of the Champions League. I really hope that Asia adopts the same thing, because what it does, gentlemen, it brings the game together from the wider community. It's promotional. It promotes the game more. There are more games. And, you know, I know Carlos once brought a point up, which was very interesting. He said, Angelo, there are too many games. England, the teams play 70 games. In Italy, they might 60, 70, 80, and so on. But what we've got to do, we've got to think about the balance. How much money do these players get? You know, players get sold for 100 million. Ronaldo's on 30 million a year. Messi's on 40 million. I mean, they get too much money. So I don't think they can complain about playing an extra game. So FIFA is very mindful of that. You want more money, you're going to play more games.
Let me say this, by the way, as well, that FIFA also have their own streaming service. So they're already going to be streaming it through FIFA. That's the other thing. So they've got a lot of money, they've got their own streaming service. But this is what I can't understand now. What happens now with the second tier?
Mate, they don't make the money streaming it themselves. They make the money selling the TV rights to the idiots, you know, like Sky and these guys that pay billions of dollars for it. It's not. I mean, FIFA's like FIFA sits. They're like an agency in the middle. They don't want to be running a TV.
They did that,
you know,
through the Oceania qualifiers. They had their own streaming service, their own company doing it for themselves. FIFA streaming service.
That's right.
They've got it, Kenny. They've got their own streaming service.
Is that because they couldn't sell it to anyone else?
I don't know, but you know how much money they've got? They've got a lot of money, Kenny.
Kenny, look, you're talking about FIFA, the second most powerful governing body in the whole world, second to the White House. I mean, you're talking about the marketing rights to a World Cup being sold for $1 billion. I mean, you know, look, this is not down. You know, I'm talking about the AFL, but the AFL, the television rights to Channel 7 pays $1 billion. Okay, and everyone's going up and roaring, oh, it's $1 billion. I mean, with FIFA, that's not your sneeze in the ocean. You know, in terms of television rights, it's mega millions.
Kenny,
well, the Premier League's up to about 7 or 8 billion.
There you go, Kenny.
There you go, Kenny. Yeah, but mate, you made a good analogy. FIFA and the White House, two of the most corrupt organisations you can possibly find.
No, but don't say that, Kenny. They're listening to us online here, but let me. I don't want to.
That's all right. Hang on. I've got my Donald Trump badge on. Don't worry.
Let me say.
I'm a Donald.
Carlos, can you come in, please, Carlos?
Let me say that this competition is going to start at the end of the World Cup. They're going to do it. It's going to happen. It's all 4 clubs that I do know. I will not mention those 4 clubs right now until we're sure. But I need to know. And there's a couple in Sydney and a couple in Victoria and New South Wales and Victoria. And there's also one in. They've all submitted, and these are former NSL clubs, Kenny. They don't want to play in the NPL anymore. They want to be out of it, mate. Not even the second division. The second division, we don't know what's happening.
Mate, forget the NPL. I'm going to take you somewhere else.
Here we go.
Donald Trump's mother was Scottish.
Oh, here we go.
She was rescued and taken to America as a young woman. All right? Donald Trump owns multiple golf courses in Scotland.
Oh, we know that.
The word is he's seriously considering buying Rangers.
Oh my
How
God.
good was that?
Now you heard this. You've heard this. You've heard this on Football West tonight, guys. So I can tell you right now that if Celtic want to talk about Celtic, forget it now, because some very rich gentleman in America, the president of America, will own
the Donald's going to buy Rangers,
mate. I tell you what, mate. Then you'll have the Saudi. Then you'll have the Saudi Arabians coming in to buy Celtic too. Jeez, mate.
You got to get Carlos to come in. Carlos, there's some legality here. Please come in.
No, I got to say, look, I agree that players are a mega dollars because of television rights. But I still think, regardless whether you're on 30, 50 or 100 million a year, your body needs to rest. It comes to a point that your body, no matter how much you earn, your body will be fatigued and injuries will happen. So we need to look at the scheduling and start thinking we cannot expect the players to go to the Club World Cup, perform at the best when they have played 70 games. And so we need to have another Omega Bucks. They earned it. It's television that gives them that money. But at the end of the day, your body needs to rest.
Exactly.
No amount of money will help you your recovery.
Pointed out the money comes from the clubs, not from the international teams. So the clubs, the Man United, the Juventus, you know, that's where the money comes from. So forget
that's right.
Forget the national. So the point you're making is, if you want to increase, we want to increase the World Cup to 48 teams and increase the games, but we want to reduce the club games, which reduces their revenue. Makes no lot of sense to me. I mean, you don't want to be increasing the international games, and you want to be probably no diluting. But I mean, Angelo did mention he says he quite likes the Champions League. I mean, I know because I've still got contacts in the UK playing at Liverpool, places like that. And I talked to them in Arsenal, and they say the first few games we played in that were just bounce games. They weren't taken seriously because of the way the structure was, as you pointed out, the way the structure was. You only had to start winning game 4, game 5 to progress. So, do you need the extra games? Again, being a purist, no. I think that adds to the issue of. I mean, I think 60 to 68 games is normal in Europe, South America. When I was a kid, played it, no problem. It shouldn't be an issue. If everyone gets injured, it happens. But 68 games should be okay. I mean, you should be able to play Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Not every week, but certainly every second or third week, you should be able to play 3 games at the level with the diet, the medical staff, the way that the professional players now are looked after, the way the body's looked after. So I don't think that should be an issue. But what Carlos, and I was laughing because he was spot on, but when he said about we forgot when Graham Arnold was coach, we took the Australian team to bloody Gold Coast on a pitch we'd never played on before.
See you later.
That's it. We're talking about bloody Popovic. The FA took our Australian team, and remember, Bahrain had parked themselves there a week before we got there.
A week before, that's right. 10 days.
Explain that to me.
It's quite taxing on the body. I think I agree with Carlos, but there's far too much money in it. You guys know why they wanted to have the Super League, and you're talking about Real Madrid, Fiorentina there, and Bayern Munich, Man City, and they all dropped off.
Yeah.
Why? Because they weren't happy with the money sharing agreement. Playing in the groups before home and away, you get 6 games. Whereas now, in this competition, they get 8 games, they get more money. So what I'm trying to say, I think that's going to put an end to the Super League. I think they're just slowly putting the nails in the coffin. There'll be no Super League, and there'll be a better Champions League competition.
See, where I disagree on that, and it's only my opinion, the Super League will encase Man United, probably Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool,
Newcastle.
I love Newcastle. I would like to see that, but Juventus, Milan, and then it will be Real Madrid, Barcelona, Rangers, Celtic, Porto. When you pull that together and create a league. Not a Champions League, but a league, a proper
European league. Yes,
a proper European league. It's a different animal.
Kenny, I'll tell you now. I'm pretty close to what I read a lot, and obviously talk to them. But that won't happen. The Super League is finished. because it started badly. They leaked out the information for Juventus. Then Juventus crawled. The whole board resigned. A lot of people resigned. I think what we're talking about is similar to a Kerry Packer situation with the cricket. It happened 30 years ago.
Series. Yeah.
Yeah, World Series, that's correct. It will not happen. It will not happen. Mark my words, guys. I think that will only improve and increase.
We have to go and watch Socceroos.
Mate, I can only tell you, Saudi Arabia are going to get a team in the Champions League.
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening.
If you said that 10 years ago to me, I would have laughed at you. Mate, they've got the Grand Prix. They've got all the boxing. They've got, mate, it was never happened 10 years ago.
It's happening.
Mate, things change very quickly. It's all happening. Mate, everything's going to the Middle East. All the big events.
All the money's there. The money's there, Kenny. All the money's there.
I mean, all the. Well, when I say the players, they're paying that much. I know a lot of the players are going and coming back because it doesn't work for them. But I think a player like Salah will go back there and he'll be happy because it's Egypt and he's obviously Middle Eastern and it'll suit him. It didn't suit somebody like Jordan Henderson, who was a Liverpool boy, going to Saudi Arabia. That to me would never work. A bit like when a lot of the players were going to China. That never worked. They were getting $300,000 and $400,000 a week, but they couldn't hack it because the lifestyle just doesn't work.
Yes,
but certainly when you look at the landscape, how things have changed, and if we were talking 10 years ago and say, would the Grand Prix be going to Saudi Arabia? Would the boxing? Would all the golf, the major golf tournaments be in Saudi Arabia?
Live.
Yeah, it would never. We would just say no chance.
Well, gentlemen, we're going to have to. I had a lot of content.
Yeah, we have to go and watch Socceroos.
I had a lot of content. I had a lot of content here. But let me say one thing that I've found out in the last.
Mate, have you given the boys sandwiches underneath? They've been sitting here for about 45 minutes patiently, just listening to you.
Wait till you.
I hope you've looked after them.
Wait till you.
I hope you've catered. I hope you've catered for them. Give them some sandwiches and drinks.
There'll be a Brunswick City, a lot of souvlaki's, Kenny. Don't worry.
Well, the boys are sitting there in Italy. Look at it.
Oh my God! I know they're just sitting. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
That's an audience, Kenny.
Really, I love them.
Well, let me say, next week there are some issues that I found out with players in the A-League, and I need to be very careful in what I say next week about this because it's become very serious. I can't say nothing about it now. There's a lot more research to do this week about it. And I don't want to go.
The suspense is going to kill me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carlos.
The suspense is going to kill me. I have to go to counselling.
This is really, really not right what's going on here. And some players have spoken to me. And it's funny that I get phone calls from them. What do they come to me for? Who am I? Should I be the new
You're the saviour.
Well, just before we go, I had a phone call before. I had to let it go. Do you know who it was?
Donald Trump.
No,
Donald Trump.
Operations manager of Football Victoria. Okay.
Good man.
Good man.
He rang me up.
Harry, one last thing.
Huh?
Harry, one last thing. Is it? Well, I know we're getting very close to the Socceroos match.
Yes, we are.
Is it a sold out then?
Well, it should be.
Absolutely.
The Chinese.
Absolutely.
The Chinese support
70,000
packed. Yeah, they support their national squad.
70,000 packed.
I don't know. You might see maybe.
I bet.
1,000 Australians there, maybe 1,000 Australians in
there. Yeah, there would be between the Green Algon Army and the Fanatics, which are the two tour operators.
Yes,
they would have taken about maximum 3,000 across to Wanshu. So
a lot.
Yeah,
3,000 is a big. See, just quickly before we go, that's an amazing concept. That 3,000 Socceroos fans have gone to China.
Yes.
We can't get Sydney FC to go from Moore Park up to the Central Coast Mariners, which is 45 minutes on the train.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, maybe 1,000. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But when I went to Japan, there was 1,000 of us in Saitama between the two groups.
Fantastic.
So there you go, boys. Tonight's been
everyone.
Go on.
Just one thing. Next, you're going to have the Greek flag behind you, mate.
Yes,
I
know where you're getting at.
Greek is fantastic.
I know where you're getting at.
I think you'll be disappointed. Just behind you, instead of that S, you should have the Greek flag.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because it's Greek National Day today.
Mate, he had his mate. Harry had his mate ring this morning to remind me about the score.
Really?
Your mate.
Oh, Nick Roussos rang you. He told me. I couldn't believe he was apologising. He was apologising to you for Scotland. I couldn't believe that. How did he do that?
Mate, I'm going to start blocking you.
Well, I think this. I have a scoop. The Scottish FA is sending a contract to Kenny Wilson to coach the Scottish national team.
You guys.
Forget coaching. Forget coaching. I could play in that team.
Oh, mate.
Player coach.
Did they? Kenny, did you see the game? Did you see the game? Was Dykes playing the Gold Coast boy? Gold Coast boy playing Dykes? Was he playing?
I've got to be honest. I just saw the highlights, but mate, we were very poor, and Greece were quite good.
How did it
happen? So it was a case that they were good, and we were poor.
Yeah, but how do you explain what happened in Athens? How do you explain what happened in Athens? 1-0 to Scotland.
Well, mate, you did. I told you what happened. The wooden horse shit. Yeah, the Greeks are great at that. They let us win in Greece, right? And then we get there, we're handing, and they wheel that bloody wooden horse out and sneak out when we never realised.
Trojan horse. And that young kid, that 17-year-old. That 17-year-old Coretus, that 17-year-old, they were absolutely dirty, the Belgians, because he was born in Belgium, and they said, please play for us, and all of a sudden, no, I'm Greek, I'm playing for Greece. My God, mate. What a future that kid's got. Did you see him? My God. Unbelievable.
Mate, I've got to say, don't use it as a yardstick playing against Scotland, because we were crap. So let's see what he's like against a France or Germany or a decent team. That'll be the test.
Exactly, that's the thing. But let me say tonight, guys, we're going to go to see the Socceroos. Please put your green and gold out there if you're watching the game. How are you guys going to watch it? How are you going to watch it, Kenny? The radio program? Is a radio program doing it?
No. I mean, I don't have Paramount. So
you could sign up for 7 days for free.
Yes, you can.
And watch it and then unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe.
It's called Football Live. Football Live.
Here we go. Thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. We've had a big night tonight, so thank you for joining me, everyone, here on Footballers. Next week, we got some damaging news. We don't want to talk about bad things about the game in Australia, but there's a few little things we're going to sort out next week. So thank you, everyone, for joining us on Footballers. Thank you, boys from Italy. Thank you, Gerardo and Marco and everybody, and Carlos and of course, Angelo and everybody else. Thank you, boys, for joining us. If you want to dance, it's time to dance. Here we go. Check it out. Hit it. There we go, guys. See you next week. Don't forget the Socceroos are coming up in half an hour's time. Let's have a look at them. Hey! Check it out. The cup of life. This is the one. Now is the time. Don't ever stop. We should have known. Gotta be strong. We should have known right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. No one can hold you back if you really want it. Thanks, guys. I see it in your eyes. Go the Socceroos tonight, guys. I would be saying to you guys, 3-0. 3-0 the Socceroos. See you next week. Let's party next week with the boys winning. Good night, guys. Thank you.